do it live. Gonna do it live. All right. All right, we're good. We're good. We're live. Everything's live. Hello, everyone. If you're here. I was watching Sticks. We'll click off that. How you doing, everyone? I know it's the middle of the day on a Monday. What the hell? I couldn't do it live yesterday because I would have been starting at like midnight, and then that would have just been. I had a bunch of stuff to do last night. I was up till like 4 a.m. finishing all the videos and everything else, and the uploading and the webcomic factory. I missed a day on that this week. It's been quite a week. Holiday week for me. I had quite a holiday though. I had me a good time. Yesterday was I Heart Horror event in Mattawan. So even though I didn't really sell, I sold a few books. I didn't sell nothing, but it was tough to sell books because I was near the bands. The bands were good. I mean, I liked the bands. I just was too close to them, and it annoyed me. And I wish I had set up further away. I think I finally learned my lesson. When I do an event now, I will set up as far away from the bands as humanly possible. Like if they give me a choice, would you like to be near the bands in the middle of the action, or would you rather be on a median in the parking lot, hundreds of feet away from everything? I'll pick the median because I can't talk to anybody when I'm like screaming. I'm hoarse from screaming over music yesterday. That's why I sound this way. Yeah, Jones kicked out. But yeah, I've been just on the go, getting no sleep. I finally got some sleep today though, so I'm a little more up. But even today, I just got invited to a pool party later, so I can't go super long with my with my live stream today. So I'm gonna just try to do Hollywoke hot take, but I'm doing it live. So as always, for those of you new to the Hollywoke hot take, what I do is I am a screenwriter by trade. And I write screenplays. And I have some insight into Hollywood and how movies work and TV and stuff. I've been doing it for a long time. Now, I don't claim to be some giant Hollywood executive with the inside track on everything. I just have some perspective on it, being a working stiff in the industry, so to speak. But if you lined up everybody else in Hollywood against me, they would all be more successful, okay? So, okay, there, I admitted it. You can learn from my terrible, terrible mistakes, is the way I say it. And of course, if you'd like to help me and my channel, buy a copy of the Pineys. Book 14, which came out in March. Book 15, dropping hopefully soon. This week, I think I'm going to be doing some editing. And I think I'm probably going to get I'm hoping to get the cover by the 15th or so, and then I got to do some stuff. And usually what happens is I'm doing events Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I'll probably get it on Friday, and I'll be like, "God damn, I can't work on this until Tuesday." That's my luck. Anyhow, as we always start with Hollywoke Hot Take, we're going to look at the numbers for the movies this weekend. Now, this is a good chart. Normally I do this on Sunday, so the numbers on Sunday are a little estimated for the weekend. Here, they're pretty much accurate, I guess, because it's Monday. There may be a slight change into Tuesday because it was a holiday weekend. But we'll take a look and analyze what movies did what. So number one is Despicable Me 4. Doing very well. 75 million. Not bad at all. I can't believe, this is the fourth installment of this series. Really the fifth. The Minions had a movie, right? I think that's a separate movie. I don't think that's That's why this is 4, right? I don't think the Minions was 2 or 3, right? So 230 million worldwide. Not bad at all for a movie that cost what? Doesn't say. Yeah, it doesn't say. I would suggest that it probably didn't cost more than 120 million, maybe. So it's probably money. Probably money. Will it hit $1 billion? Nah, it's not gonna hit $1 billion. It'll probably hit $500 million. $500 million easy. So that's pretty good. Inside Out 2 still going strong at 30 million, dropping from 1 to 2. This is in its 4th weekend. It's a beast. It's a beast. Beast of a movie. 1.2 billion. So expect 3 sequels to this. Expect 3 more Inside Out sequels. Dropping from 2 to 3. A Quiet Place, day 1. 21 million. That's doing okay. Do we have a... Let's see. Do we have a production budget? No. But it's at 178 million. I don't know. It's got some effects. The cast is not really known to me. So I would ballpark it at 80 million, maybe. So this is probably money. Seems to be doing okay. Unless they really spent an S ton of money on it, and I don't know about it. Number 4 is Maxine XXXX. 6.7 million. Not bad for a movie like this, which essentially is a horror movie. But they probably spent a little more money on it. Yeah, they're not listing the production budget here. So 7.8 million worldwide. I don't know. They probably spent a little more money on this. Probably somewhere in the ballpark of 20 to 30 million. And it does take place in the 80s, so it does require a little bit of a budget. So I don't know. It may not be money, but down the road, it's packaged with the other 2 movies, maybe. Bad Boys Ride or Die, dropping from 4 to 5. Another pretty good movie with legs. 6.6 million today, or this weekend. 360 million, totally money. Production budget 100 million. Money. So lots of money this weekend. Dropping from 3 to 6. Horizon and America's Saga Chapter 1, a movie I did review. Oofa. 5.3 million. This is the 2nd week. Drops 51%. Well, that's not too bad of a drop. But worldwide, it's only 23 million. I'm shocked at the international box office on this. Only $1 million? Westerns tend to do okay internationally. And of course, the UK's, but that's low for the UK in terms of a Western. $470,000? Man, usually the Brits love a good Western. Is this a good Western? Not really, but the Brits love them, so you would think it would at least crack $1 million or 2. So it's not doing great. It's not doing great at all. Still got some numbers to come in. It's not going to China. So I don't know, man. What's the summary on this? Yeah, it's a $50 million budget. It's only halfway to the budget. Yeah, that's a shame. Now, maybe when the second movie comes out, this gets a bump again. It lingers in theaters. Maybe they do a double feature. But the thing's 3 hours long, man. It's 3 freaking hours long. This ain't Lord of the Rings. Like, it's fine. I wouldn't have minded if you had split this movie in half and just shown me half of the movie. It would have had just as much of an effect on me. I would have been like, oh, okay. Oh, Indie Phantom's here. What is up, Tony? Yeah, Coster hitting another miss. Yeah, it sucks, man. I was kind of rooting for it. And then, Razor Fist said nice things, and John Nolte, and I'm just like, okay. From an authentic perspective, showing the different tribes of the Native Americans and stuff. Indie Phantom, he tried to follow a television format, it seemed. Yeah, it just doesn't really work for a movie. Doesn't really work. And doing a montage? What is this, 85? Come on, man. You can't do a montage like that unless you're doing a comedy. I just don't get it. It isn't even that he tried to follow television format. It's just not that compelling, Indie Phantom, I do want to see it, but it is like the worst. It is at the worst screen of my local cinema. I got to tell you, the screen ain't gonna help you. I mean, you really feel the time on this is the problem. I mean, it's a 3-hour movie, and it feels like 3 hours. I was squirming in my seat by the end of it, and we were in one of these super comfy theaters, revamped with the new seats. And it pisses me off. I took a date to this movie, and I said, I heard it's good. Ugh. So, yeah, you don't want to take a date to a movie like this. Unless you're going to tune it out and make out for the second half of it. But, yeah, I saw it. I reviewed it, too. You could check the review out if you get some time, but it's just ponderous. I taped my review at like 4 a.m, so Indie Phantom, that sucks. It was slow. The other part, too, is like, first off, the title's terrible. That's a terrible title. Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1. I mean, why don't you call it like American Western Part 1? Indie Phantom, I thought the trailers were promising. Yeah, it looked fine. But you know what? It's got everything in it a Western has. If you cut like a solid hour out of this, maybe even an hour and a half, it would be exciting at least. Seems like a huge mistake now. It's like not even that bad of a plot. It just, there's too much to try to, you're trying to like for instance, Clint Eastwood did those 2 movies that take place in World War II, and one's from the Japanese perspective and one's from the American perspective. Indie Phantom, after the last Mission Impossible, I thought they would lose the whole Part 1 thing. Meh. So like if Costner had maybe done that, like had done one from the perspective of the Indians and one from the perspective of the cowboys, maybe that could have worked. Seeing the same two movies from a different perspective would have been kind of cool. But like, there's a whole long sequence with the Indians, which is authentic because it's like not every Indian was a bloodthirsty savage, but some of them were. Not every cowboy wanted to just murder people, but some of them did. So there's just too much going on. Like, I could edit that movie down to 90 minutes and it would probably be pretty good. But I would cut out 90% of the Indians. Just cut them right out. Maybe show the one who killed the violinist at one point. And then get to Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner had a good scene. I mean, his gunfight's a good scene. Indie Phantom, this will come off like another Postman and Waterworld now as such a miss. Even worse, he has a second part of this coming out, and he's supposed to do 4 more. I heard it's 6 parts altogether. And I was just like dumbfounded. What? Are you kidding me? He's not ending this in another movie? And is each installment going to be 3 hours long? Like Star Wars isn't even 3 hours. Lord of the Rings isn't even 3 hours. It's close. I think it's close to 3 hours. Maybe one of them's 3 hours. Like, but there's just no, like, if you maybe did it like Lord of the Rings, in that you focus on one or two characters, at least initially, focused on one thing. Like, maybe if you focused on one Native American guy who's determined to beat back the White Eyes, and then focus on Kevin Costner, who's determined to be, I don't know, a good guy in a terrible world, and then their eventual meetup, you could maybe make that work, but it's all over the place. He's luxuriating in movie making. Possibly he thinks this is like something down the road people will look at and go, wow, this was amazing. And I have heard people say that. I've heard people say, no, 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 you have to go watch it again, and then you have to really look at it. There's a lot going on you're not seeing. And I'm just like, I don't view movies that way. It just, and again, it wasn't even bad. It's just so long. It's just too damn long. What the frig with these long movies? Just make a regular movie. I like 90 minutes, that's a movie. 3 hours, that's my day. I have things to do. Seriously, I have things to do. On my date, that cut into the date. Like, we wanted to go be entertained for about 90 minutes and then go back to dating and talking and things that you do on dates. Like, we were exhausted by the end of it. We were like, And then we had to complain about it, because that's what you do after a movie. At least that's what I do. And it's like, no, Kevin Costner, no. Number 7, Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot. This is like the second biggest movie from Angel Studios. So that's nice. Premiering at 6.6 million. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Well, it says 3.3 million here. I guess that's worldwide, or is that earlier in the week, maybe? I'm not sure how they're calculating that. So, ain't bad. I mean, it is the summer. I don't know if an Angel Studios movie can hit the top of the pops, but they're saying this is the second best movie they've put out in terms of box office. They're in 2,200 theaters. That's not bad. I don't know what the hell this movie is. Kalki 2898 AD. It's a Bollywood project, it looks to me. Doing pretty good at 20 million. Some of these Bollywood movies... Oh, this is the second week for this. Oh, it dropped by 65%, though. So, that don't have legs, but it's already going out of theaters, it looks like. Why throw it out of theaters? Seems like it's doing okay. Even at 1.8 million this weekend, seems like you would want to keep it in some theaters. Doing better than The Bike Riders, which drops from 6 to 9. This is another kind of disappointment along the lines of Kevin Costner's movie, because it's like, 29 million, 29.5. That's not bad, but I don't think that's money. Let me see. No. We don't know what the budget is. I would guess not. It's a period piece about biker clubs. 1.3 million. I don't know why they even made this movie. And it's already going out of theaters too in its third week. But still, at 1.3 million, that's not nothing. It's still over $1 million. I don't know why you would take it out of theaters. It's doing better than Kinds of Kindness. Drop it from 9 to 10. This has done 6.5 million. This is, to me, just another pretentious art movie made by people I'm not particularly fond of. $860,000. Not a summer movie at all. Not a movie I would take a date to. I mean, one kind of date I might take there. I mean, super artsy fartsy girl I would take to Kinds of Kindness. And it would mostly be because she wanted to see it. Oh, we've got to go see it. Not normally the kind of girl I'm going out with. So this movie has weird stuff in it, including some cannibalism and orgies. Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that kind of weirdness. Like, to me, the weird movies were like Eraserhead by David Lynch. That was pretty freaking weird. But it was a fun kind of weird. Like, you can kind of laugh at some of it and just go, woo, weird. This is sort of weird, like, oh, let's make the audience very uncomfortable. And insert some feminism in there. Nah, that's not my kind of weird. The Fall Guy is still in theaters for some reason. Now, The Fall Guy was very much a summer movie. I think they released it a little too early. Maybe if they had sat on it, they could have done better. God, it's been in theaters forever. $175 million or $125 million production budget. It might break even there. That might be a break even situation if they didn't promote the hell out of it, which they totally did. And it's been in theaters 10 weeks. 10 weeks. And they put it back in the theaters. Look at this. Or no, that's the wrong thing. No, they took it out of theaters. Never mind. Thelma, which I still want to see. It's in its third week. I think I'm going to catch it on streaming, though. 790,000. 6.8 million. This looks like a fun movie. About an old lady who goes after the scammers who scammed her. Fun. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, somehow still in theaters. In its 9th week. Friggin' crushed. Made money. Expect another one of these. Expect a TV show. That's probably where they're going to go next. They should. They should just do the TV show. The TV show was popular when they did it. Just do a damn TV show that takes place in the Planet of the Apes world. You could see ruined things and people in ape costume. And you could do a romance between an ape and a human and the whole thing. I'm sure that's in the works. The Garfield movie, $500,000. This Is Money. Did okay. Well, did better than okay. Quadruple what it cost to make. That's the way you make a movie. Drop into, well, I don't know, 14, 15 is IF or IF. 184,000 on a $110 million budget. Probably money, but again, they spent an S ton of money promoting this. So maybe not. Not with the formula of doubling its production budget. Blue Lock, the movie. Episode Nagy. There you go, weebs. Enjoy that. Enjoy that, weebs. It did $190,000. It's in its second week. It dropped 82%. I think that's done. I think you might as well take that, set that aside. Janet Planet, another art house film for $91,000. It's done $500,000. I don't. Again, more of a date movie for your artsy fartsy girl. Daddy-O, $86,000. It's done slightly better. Oh, I know this movie. So this is Sean Penn and Dakota Johnson, where Sean Penn is a cab driver, a New York cab driver doing an accent, like Sean Penn pretending to be a blue-collar guy. And it's like a play. It's like him acting with Dakota Johnson and talking about their lives, and they're stuck in the cab because he gets trapped in some traffic coming back from the airport or something like that. Yeah, no thanks. I don't like to support Sean Penn anymore. I think he's insane. Number one. I never thought he was great. Sometimes he was good. I gave him some leeway. He felt to me like, and I had the same attitude about Mark Ruffalo and a few others, like, okay, they were liberal and they were kind of open about it. Now they're just insane. Both of them are just nuts. They have, like, driven their politics right off a cliff, and I don't want to support them. I want them to be I want to stop hearing about them, essentially. Maybe they retire, maybe they don't. I don't care. I just don't want to hear about them anymore. They annoy me. Indie Phantoms, Sean Penn was always a bit wacky. Yeah, he always was, you know. He was married to Madonna, and then, but he was considered like an artist, right? Like a real actor's actor. And he could still have that reputation if he had stayed out of politics. Like if he had just stayed out of politics and just did nothing but act, today he would be considered like a grand actor, and everybody would like him. But now this guy has gone. I mean, this is a guy who gave Zelensky his Oscar, I guess. I think it was an Oscar. It's insane. It's absolutely insane to me. He is 100% to me either a total psyop, like he is completely controlled by the deep state to do these events that he does, or he's utterly nuts. Like he's being manipulated and pushed into doing this stuff because, I don't know, he's like a volatile personality and he's easily caught up in stuff, and the deep state's like, oh, let's get Sean Penn to do this. And then they do. And he just does it because it's easy to manipulate him. Sorry, I sent something in my eye. Indie Phantom, hilarious interview out there with Stephen Baldwin talking about getting fired because of Sean Penn on Casualties of War. Oh, weird. Have to check that out. Yeah, Penn is all politics now. Same thing with De Niro, you know, and a lot of these guys. It's like, okay, we could tolerate a little bit. Like if you go to the Oscars and that's your moment and you say something wacky, all right. But now it's like every day, relentless every day. And then, you know, Penn is better than De Niro now. That's about it. Yeah. Then the thing is, it's like they constantly do that with the politics, right? And then a movie comes out that they're in and they turn around and they go, oh, hey, see my movie. Like, you just spent like months calling me a bigot and ignorant and how stupid everybody in America is. And now you want me to go see your movie? No. I'm not going to go see your movie. I'm never going to see anything that you're ever in again. Indie Phantom. Yeah, the interview was on Jamie Kennedy's show. Oh, cool. Cool. You know, I just saw, I keep seeing this clip all the time. Is this hilarious clip of Bobby Lee telling this story on... Bobby Lee is a comedian who was on Mad TV, and there's another comedian who has a podcast, Brian Callahan, and there's like a third comedian on it, and Bobby Lee tells this outrageous story, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it's supposedly Bobby tells the story how he got molested, but somehow it turns into a hilarious moment, but I don't know if he's being serious or not because the story is so crazy. You got to see it sometime. Indie Phantom, I just read something about nudity on the latest Alkalite episode, which is not going over well. Yes, what happened was there's a character on the show they revealed to be the big bad guy, and now he's like, I don't know, he's like one of the main characters now. He was a side character, but then they revealed him to be a big baddie. Well, he's played by an actor who's in great shape, so there was a scene in which he strips naked and goes swimming, and the main character watches him. Like, the whole show has turned into, again, women. Like, the whole show is built around... I can just imagine a bunch of women sitting around talking about how they're going to write this show. What if he goes for a dip and then she's watching him naked? Oh, he's hot. I think people would like that. You could just hear it being written by women. who have no clue what Star Wars is. Star Wars, when it was launched, was Indie Phantom. Nothing is deadlier or deader than Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah. When Star Wars was launched, they talked about how it was like, oh, it's like Buck Rogers. It's like a return to that era of Buck Rogers adventurism in space. You know? It's Buck Rogers, and it's Lord of the Rings, and it's the Seventh Samurai. All this cool stuff mashed together. And it was true. And then women got a hold of it, and now I don't know what, nobody knows what it is. And every time you criticize it, you just get yelled at, which again is such a women reaction. And you know, and it sounds like I'm coming down on women. I'm really not, because there are plenty of women out there who, first off, totally agree that Star Wars is dead. They're sensible women. There are sensible women, and then there are insane women. The problem is, insane women, in my view, have taken over Star Wars. They're insane. And the reason they're insane is they're insane the way women go insane. Like, men go insane in a different way. Like, men go insane, you know, like Bill Belichick. He's 72 and he's banging some 24-year-old cheerleader. Like, that's the way a guy goes insane. He goes insane, but there's a certain logic to the insanity. Like, I'm going to bang a hot chick. Like, you could see it. Like, well, it's nuts, Bill. You're crazy. You're 72. You shouldn't do that. But you can go, I understand. And people could criticize him all day long, and he's just going to smile and say, hey, I'm banging a 24-year-old chick. I don't care what you say. And you can understand why he would completely ignore your criticism. People criticize me, and I ignore it, because that's the way a man handles criticism. We don't care. People criticize me all the time. Like, okay, shut up. But when you criticize a woman, and they react as women tend to react, and again, I'm talking about the crazy women, they react, oh no, deflect, 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 deflect. Everything's about deflection. Everything's not their fault. Everything's perfect. It's just you're the problem. And that's a very female thing to do. And guys don't do that. Guys don't deflect, generally speaking. Some guys do. There's always exceptions to the rule. But generally speaking, if you insult a guy because the way guys are raised, they just, go F you. F you. No, my show's cool. That's what a guy would say. If a guy made this show and people were complaining about it, and he reacted like a guy, and I'm not talking Dave Filoni, like a man, he would say, I don't care. The show's good. The show's awesome. Watch it. Give it another chance. But the women can't help themselves. The crazy women can't help themselves. They can't take in even this much criticism because their entire worldview falls apart. Oh my God, they're criticizing me. You're bigots. It's the only answer. No, the answer is your show sucks. And even a guy can take in like, well, maybe the show does suck. I'm sorry. Like, if enough people criticize you, you might actually go, well, maybe it sucks. But crazy women? No. No. Everything's wrong with you people. The world's not correct. I'm the only sane one. Oh, I hate Star Wars now. But I think that was part of the plan. I think part of the plan, at first, I think the plan was, for Kathleen Kennedy to be the new George Lucas and to take over the fan base, just take it over. Like, we would all just immediately go to you, oh, Kathy, you're great. Didn't you invent Star Wars? Well, maybe. Like, that was the plan. Like, for us to pretend like she invented Star Wars. And when that didn't work out, I think she just got bitter and angrier and angrier. And now she's like, oh, okay, fine. I'm going to destroy it then. Oh, you don't like it? Well, I'm going to wreck it. Somebody put out a study that said one of the reasons females are not good generally in executive positions is because they tend to be more vicious and treat their underlings with contempt and just they get revenge on them. Again, like, if you get a group of 5 guys and they're working on a project, they'll call each other all sorts of nasty names, but it all kind of rolls off. Most guys. Carter Jane is here. Whoa, this is a weird stream time. Yeah, I couldn't do one yesterday, so I thought I'd do one at a different time. And, maybe for Kite. I thought maybe Kite would be here because I think he's in Japan, and it might be better for him. Or maybe I miscalculated the time and he's asleep because it's the middle of the night there. What time is it in Japan? I don't know. Let's see. Time in Japan. Oh, it's 3:37 in the morning. All right. So, what would I have to get? I'd have to do a stream. It would have been better to do the midnight one. He would have been up. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm ranting. I'm ranting about women in Star Wars again. But let's wrap this up, or I'll be here all day. Yeah, so Kathleen Kennedy, I think, just wanted us to make her George Lucas like it was a title or something, and then give her all the kudos, even though she didn't earn it, even though she doesn't have a 10th of his talent, a 10th, a 20th. She's, I'm sure Kathleen Kennedy's good at some things. I'm sure she is. But making movies ain't one of them, in my view, and TV shows. No. To make a movie or a TV show, like George Lucas, he's a little weird, right? Yeah, he's an odd guy because that he lives in creative stuff. I'm an odd guy. I live in creative world. Sometimes I just tell people, everybody get away from me. I have to go into my own little world now. Just go away. I'll just be gone for a while. I'll see you when I figure out my new little crazy Pineys story or whatever. Kathleen Kennedy does not strike me as a person like that. Kathleen Kennedy strikes me as a person who gets up at the same time every day, has a breakfast, washes the dish, or has her servant do it, because now she's super rich, then goes to the office, is always there at a particular time. She has plans. And when those plans go well, she smiles to herself and says, "Oh, my plan went well." But when those plans don't work, oh, God save you. God save you if you're around Kathleen Kennedy. She's a planner. A lot of women are. And that's good. It's good as for movies. That's what you want, like your assistant to be like. That's probably why she was a good assistant. Because she probably planned things. She's like, "Oh, George, you didn't take your pill. It's 2:00. Oh, thank you. George, here, you're not hydrating. Here, drink this. Oh, thank you." Like that kind of thing. She's good at like seeing the stuff you should do, but that's not what creative people do. Creative people don't do what they should do. They're crazy. Let me give you a little bit of insight how crazy I am. So I live in a house and I have to do house things. And I frequently just forget to do them. And I just forget to do them. It's the only way I could describe it. So I haven't mowed the lawn in a long time. The lawn is out of control. Now it's not super high because it's summer, but parts of it are high and it looks like total S. So before I go to the pool party today, I think I'm going to get the weed whacker out and I'm just going to run around the lawn and cut down the super high parts. So I have a few more days before I have to mow it. And I do have to mow it, but I'm not going to mow it today. I think it's probably going to rain tomorrow, so I'm going to be effed until I don't know how long. It's probably going to be another week. If I don't mow my lawn tomorrow, I'm screwed for like a week. So I'm going to try to mow it tomorrow. I should mow it today. Like I said, I'm going to a pool party. But this is how people live their lives if you're creative. Now, if I wasn't creative, I would have mowed my lawn the same time I always do. I'd go to work, get home at 5, spend 2 hours mowing the lawn. I wouldn't be going to a pool party in the middle of the day. You know, I wouldn't be doing a live stream. I'd be like, I have to go pay taxes. That's like a normal guy thing. I'd be doing something for my kids or whatever. Creative people are weird. Kathleen Kennedy's not weird. She's not weird at all. Nah. I can spot a creative person. I work for this comic book company, and the top echelon guys were all great guys. Don't get me wrong, they're great guys and creative in their own way. But they weren't creative people in that they didn't live that life. At least not very long. But the main creator of their group spotted him in a heartbeat because he was an odd guy. He was the oddball of their group. And he was a creative genius. Now, the other guys were good. They were creative in their own ways. But the main guy, he was a genius. That's the only way I could describe it. So, George Lucas, genius. Kathleen Kennedy, secretary. A good one. And, you know, if you could put, and I'm not saying this like literally, but figuratively, a leash on her and make her do the things she's good at and stay away from the creative, Lucasfilms would probably run very well. So if she was second banana to Jon Favreau, oh my God, Star Wars would be amazing right now. Star Wars would be the greatest thing ever. But she can't. She can't. And she can't admit that to herself, I think. She can't admit that she's just not that creative. She wants to do it all, and she's damaging the brand and everything around her in an attempt to force everybody to admit it, which won't mean anything. Like, even if we all said, like, okay, Kathy, you're the greatest thing, you invented Star Wars, your shows are great, they still would suck. We'd just be saying the words. But it might make her feel better for about 10 minutes. And then she'd go back to ranting and raving because deep down she'd know. She'd know. She's just not good at this. Sorry. Star Wars. Ugh. Next up is Hijack 1971. This is a South Korean hijack plane movie. Did well in South Korea. 10 million. Here it only did $73,000. So, yeah, plane movies in the United States, not really a thing anymore. Not sure how much they spent on this though. Could be under 10 million for the South Koreans. They're pretty frugal on their movies. Escape, $58,000 in 54 theaters. Oh, this one, I did see the trailer for this. This is kind of a cool premise. This is about some dudes who try to escape from North Korea. So they come up with a plan and execute it, and you're following it. It looks pretty thrilling, actually. I would totally see this movie. But not doing great, so I don't know. I don't know what they could do. It's only in 54 theaters. Maybe they'll kick it up to more theaters next week. But I don't know. Ghost Light. It's in its fourth week. $37,000. I don't even remember. Robot Dreams. That's a cartoon. $30,000. It won an Oscar, so I assume it's quality, I guess. I don't know. It looked a little like it was pushing the message. Last Summer. Oh my God, I saw the trailer for this. It's in its second week already? This is about a woman who has an affair with her stepson. Like, that's like porno levels of plotting, France. And it's a French movie. It's a very French movie, if you ask me. Seven Samurai. Ooh, back in theaters. Cool. Only did $322,000 though. Green Border. Don't know. What the hell is this? I don't know what this one is. It's definitely a foreign film. So, $308,000. Taking Venice. $5,000. I think it might be about the Venice Film Festival. Benel and Adama. I don't know. Could it be a foreign version of Thelma and Louise? I don't know. There's a lot of movies here. I do not know. Gosh. $4,000. Like, why even put these on the list? Evil Does Not Exist. This is still in theaters. It did 1.8 million. It looks pretty low budget, but doesn't say it's budget. How to Come Alive with Norman Mailer. Or Normal Mailer. Normal Mailer? What the hell movie is this? How to Come Alive with Normal Mailer. No, it says Norman Mailer on the movie poster. That should be Norman Mailer, the famous author, who I think is dead. The only thing I'll say about him is I read his book, Harlot's Ghost, and it's 1,600 pages, and it ends with "to be continued." If Norman Mailer wasn't dead, I'd punch him in the face for that book. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, by the way. If he's alive, I'm totally kidding. Wicked Little Letters in 4 theaters, $2,900. Oh, I think I saw. Okay, so the trailer for this is like one of those movies where it takes place in England and everybody's all stuck up 1950s person, you know, those kinds of movies, except one woman who is writing letters. I forget why. And she turns society upside down. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Like one of those movies. Hasn't been relevant in like 50 years, but whatever. 25 million worldwide. Well, it seemed to do well in England. So I could see it doing okay there, I guess. I Used to Be Funny. Movie about a stand-up comic and then it gets super serious. I mean, you could put a lot of comics in that realm, in that movie. Run Lola, Run. Why they're rerunning movies left and right here. I saw this movie. It's not bad. It's about a hot chick in a bank robbery and she's got pink hair. Back when that was before pink hair meant what it meant now. You know, back in the day, a chick with pink hair, I was like, oh yeah, some hot punk girl. I was all about it. Now, like, oh, you got pink hair? Get away. Get away. It's not the hot red flag it used to be. Naked Axe. Where did he get these movies? Fresh, funny, and original. Maybe. Guess there's nudity in it. It's from 1998. That's another old movie. It's in 3 theaters. Nostalgia. It's not how you spell nostalgia. Nostalgia. From 1983. Okay, a lot of old movies. And The Beast. Okay. So, this is where we are in the world of movies. Bunch of old movies playing in theaters. And not even making that much money, really. So, 155 million for the weekend. Not too bad. Not too bad a weekend for Hollywood. I mean, Despicable Me taking half of that, but yeah. So, not a bad 4th of July weekend overall. All right, let's check the trades. There's lots of stuff going on. First up, this is the big story. I almost did a Hollywoke short take. I probably would have if I had seen this and I was home as I normally am. But looks like Skydance will purchase Paramount or merge with Paramount. This is very big news because this means Star Trek now is owned by these people and could get, I mean, you could see it could be good or bad. I mean, it either Skydance goes full at ESG and makes everything super woke, and then, you know, Star Trek Discovery by comparison looks good, or it go the other way, like, screw all this ESG nonsense. We're not going to do any of that. And then you get a decent reboot finally. And then all that other stuff goes away. Fingers crossed. Alec Baldwin on trial. Is the actor to blame for the fatal shooting on set? Not totally. I know. He shot her. But he didn't do it on purpose. And he is and was an A-list actor for many years. Trust me, they would have never let... Back in the day when Alec was the guy, of course they would have had a whole team of people just around him to keep him insulated from everything. And when they handed him a gun or a prop weapon, it would have been checked 40 times, because Alec in that time would have been too important for it not to he would have been too important to the movie. They would have been like, you better effing make sure Alex has a perfect life on this set. Like, that's the way A-listers are treated. His life was perfect then. So you could understand if you lived that life for many years, and he was an A-lister for a while, a good while, that he got used to that. He got used to the idea, yes, other people take care of the guns. You just hand me the gun and I do the acting. Now, where it starts to break down, in my view, is that he became a producer, which means he's at least partially responsible for the hiring. Now, did he actually do it? Probably not. But as his career started to go into decline and he did smaller and smaller movies, that would have started to become evident to him that he didn't have a total team of guys, because a team of guys costs money. So the team got smaller and smaller. And his blame, in my view, is because he's one of the producers on that movie, and he's at least partially responsible for hiring the woman who handed him that gun. So he can't just dump it all on her. He hired her. It'd have been different if she was, one of the top grade weapons experts. She looked like she was a nepotism hire who barely knew what she was doing and effed it all up. And that's partly on him because he's a producer. As an actor, yeah, it's on him because he pointed the weapon at anybody. So in that respect, he's partially responsible too. Should he go to prison? He ain't going to prison. But he's going to be convicted of something, which opens the doors to many, many lawsuits, and he's going to lose all his money, which is probably a fate worse than death for him, because first off, he has 1 million kids, he has a highfalutin life, and he's going to have to keep working, is what it boils down to. He'll be working the rest of his life. He'll work until he drops dead now, because after he gets sued and loses all that money, he's got 1 million kids. He's got a high-end wife. I'm sure she ain't cheap. And he's got houses and properties, and he needs money. Like, maybe he was teeing himself up to retire before this, but most of his liquidity is going to be gone, I think. After he gets sued, it's going to be a mess. He'll be paying that off. And if he gets really unlucky and his wife divorces him, oh my God. Then he's in real trouble. Because then she's going to need money, and he's just going to be old, struggling to keep making money. They say that's what happened to Robin Williams. That part of the reason he was depressed was he had to go back on tour at, in his 70s. Not that he was like, oh, I want to go back on tour even though I'm old. No. Part of it was, according to the rumor, he owed so much to his ex-wives he couldn't stop making money, because California laws basically said, well, you were a millionaire when you got divorced. Well, you got to keep making money like you're worth millions of dollars. But when he got divorced to at least one of his wives, he was like the biggest guy in Hollywood, possibly the second one too. That's a lot of ka-ching to keep making. And you just don't make it forever. You just don't. So, let that be a lesson. Never get married. No, I'm not saying that. But if you do get married, have a prenup and don't get divorced or both. Here's this show, Agatha All Along, which I think this is like the 5th title for this show. What's her name? I can't think of her first name. Her last name's Hahn. Oh, here it is. Catherine Hahn. She's very funny. She's very good. I just wish she got a different show. I'm sure this will be cutesy in the way the MCU has been cutesy. But again, Agatha Harkness is not a major character in the MCU. And I don't know what Disney expects to have happen. Like, the twos of Agatha Harkness fans are probably dead by now. So, they could have started with a new show. They could have just done a new show, and it would have been just as effective. Probably better, because you wouldn't be saddled with the MCU BS. But Disney has completely lost its way in terms of creating stuff. Their corporate mandate now seems to be, no. We don't create anything. We buy things other people create, and then we ruin them. And then we hire people who are completely unqualified to write them, rewrite them. And so they suck. But don't worry, we have plenty of ESG scores. They're ranting about House of the Dragon. I don't care. I'm not in the House of the Dragon. I don't trust House of the Dragon after Game of Thrones. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait. When the show ends, if it had a perfect run, I might go back and binge watch it. I have a feeling it won't have a perfect run. It's just a feeling I have that they're going to do the same thing. Maybe around the 3rd season, I'll say. Around the 3rd season, something's going to happen to the show. It'll start to go in a weird direction. But we'll see. Donald Glover hosts intimate listening party for final Childish Gambino album, Bando Stone, featuring his 7-year-old son, Flo Milli, and more. Is this really going to be his final album? Why? I don't know why you would end Childish Gambino. But it's probably a good idea. I mean, it's like Eminem putting out a new album. That's sort of sad. Because, like, the normal rappers seem to know when to bow out. They know it's a very young man's game. Like, I've always said comedy's a young man's game. But holy F, there are a few older comedians that can still hang. Not rappers. It's pathetic when they're old. Tom Cruise still talks to Edge of Tomorrow director about making a sequel even 10 years later. I mean, maybe. I don't think he should. I think he should do something new. Celebrity Family Feud exec producer Michio Mizuno makes history as first black woman to run a primetime game show. Seriously? That's a bit of a specific record. And I didn't even know there was a Celebrity Family Feud. Is there going to be like the Kardashians and so? They're already rich. Celebrities are already rich. Why is there a Celebrity Family Feud? I don't really get that. I guess they play for charity. Let's see. All right, moving on to Fandom Pulse. Games Workshop sues 3D printer enthusiasts in an attempt to stifle fan-made, I assume, Warhammer 40K content. Why? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Okay, I guess they're determined to go woke and go broke, so... Again, Warhammer fans, make your own game. Just change all the names, change the designs, keep the same basic concept, and you're good. Why is mainstream entertainment media completely silent on the Neil Gaiman allegations? Well, one reason might be that they're not particularly good. You know, they're not they don't have any real evidence against them. They could be fake. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't, I would leave it alone until there's more evidence, until something happens, a court case or whatever. But I would have done that with everybody. But see, that's not what I think his point is, it's not what the mainstream media does, especially the entertainment media. If they want to get rid of somebody and something like this happens, boom, they go at him. So, And here's the article on the naked Sith guy. Despite having the Sith get naked, Star Wars The Acolyte has fallen off the top 10 of streaming ratings. Yeah, it's just desperate to have a naked guy in it. It's just desperation trying to get some ratings. Who knows? They may have scrambled after the first 3 episodes and said, go back and shoot a scene where he's naked. John Adams is here. Flash Gits is doing exactly that with their Space King show. Yes, that's a great show. I saw that. It's amazing. It's a total parody. That's another thing. Parody law is very clear. Do a parody. Do a Warhammer parody like Space Flash Gits, and you're good to go. In fact, the Flash Gits guys, and I'm sure they're thinking of this, they should do their own version of Warhammer, just called Space King. And again, you just make up all the characters. You just make up a bunch of crap. It's the same damn game. Look, I've done this a million times. I've played role-playing games all my life. Not recently. I can't find anybody. I can't find a good gaming group, nor do I have the time. But, man, I would just make up stuff all the time. I made up my own games. I took Dungeons and Dragons rules and I made a game called Cops and Robbers, which was sort of a prototype for the game I actually did publish, which was Complete Mafia for D20. And it's easy. It's really easy. You just make up numbers and stats and roll dice, and depends on what you want to accomplish. It depends on the milieu you want to luxuriate in. If you want to play Space Marines, Space King is just as good as anything else. Call it Nebula Knights. Call it anything. It doesn't matter. If you change all the names, you change the designs, they can't touch you. They absolutely can't touch you. The only problems you'll have, and this is the rule with trademarks and such, it's the likelihood of confusion. So as long as your packaging won't be confused with Warhammer, it could look similar, but it can't be confusing. Like, you can't take a package and make it look basically the same. You want to make it look different. Change up all the colors. There he is. Kite's here. Just having a bit of a hot take. Hey, everyone. Hey. Kite, I forget, where are you? Where are you in the world? Because I thought, maybe Kite will tune in if I do an early stream. And I did it because I had to do a different one anyway. So every once in a while I like to do, mix things up, because maybe we catch some new people. Oh, you're in the UK. Why did I think you were in Japan? I don't know why. I thought you were in Japan. So, okay, good. So it's probably a reasonable time. What time is it in, let's see, time in UK. Oh, it's 8:05. Okay, so this is a reasonable time for Kite. Welcome, my friend. Now you can listen to me and be awake and not have to go to sleep. So I've got two Pineys in the chat. See, I got 2 subscribers now. 2. That's pretty awesome. Pretty excited. But yeah, so not to continue my rant on Star Wars again, but and Warhammer. You just make your own versions of it. You know, Star Wars was like a combination of so many different things. That's the cool thing about making your own version of Warhammer. You could change it up, throw in some mechs, throw in some Star Wars Jedi stuff. Kite, it's 8 p.m. right now. Yeah, I actually woke up from an afternoon nap. You and me both. I woke up today. Holy cow, I was up to 4 a.m. last night. And I was wiped. I was wiped. And so I woke up at about 12:30, and I still was not, and then the dog woke me up like 5 times, and I was still not together. Kite, the Spanish got me something right. The Spanish got something right. Oh, okay. Like a siesta. Nice. So I just slept, and then I ended up getting up at about 1:15. And then I had to get a shower because I was still wrecked. I was still tired. Like I got too much sleep. And then after I got a shower, I finally started to come to life. And then I had some lunch, and now I'm good. Now I'm going to a pool party. So, which is why I can't stay on the stream too much longer. I definitely got to be wrapped by 4, I'll say. But I don't want to put a time on it. All right, Hollywood Reporter. More on Alec Baldwin. So again, he's going to get something. He'll get some kind of like, you killed that woman. And here's a document saying that. And you get a suspended sentence, and you pay a fine, and then the floodgates open, and he's sued by everybody. He's going to be sued by the family. I don't know if they settled that or not. That's number one. They're number one on the hit parade. They will get a huge settlement from Alec Baldwin, I think. And it'll be partially based that his liability has been proven in a court of law. This is me. This is my take as a non-lawyer. The second group of people who will sue him are the crew. Because there were all sorts of problems I read about the Rust crew. I think they were a bunch of them were fired right before the day of the shooting and replaced. So that's not good. He might get sued by the armorer herself. I don't think she has much of a case. But then he'll probably get sued by the investors. I mean, the movie's coming out. I don't know who would want to see it. But the investors certainly could argue that, hey, you effed up the movie by shooting this woman, Alec. So, yeah, that ain't good for Alec Baldwin. Which is why I think he's doing a reality show with his family. All right, what else? Man bites dog. RFK Jr. learns the hard way how the White House ambitions can be undone by a pooch. So there was a picture of RFK Jr. and the meme going around the internet, and I believed it too, was that he was like it was a carcass that had been cooked and splayed open, right? It had been gutted and splayed open, and you couldn't tell what kind of animal it was. And he was like biting on it in a picture, and it went around the internet, and they said it was a dog. It turns out it was a goat, according to most accounts. So I think legit it was a goat. But now he has to sort of undo the damage from the meme, you'd say. So weird, right? Okay. Oh, now we're getting into my favorite. Rob Reiner, meathead. Rob Reiner calls on Joe Biden to step down. It's time to stop effing around, says meathead. If the convicted felon wins, we lose our democracy. No. See, this is a... I'm going to get political. Sorry. This is a line of thinking that people have who do not have any understanding how dictatorships work. When Saddam Hussein became president of Iraq, the moment he became president, or whatever they called it, I don't know, whatever title they used, he was never going to leave. He made up his mind to never leave once he was elected. And what he did was, and this is a horrifying video if you ever want to see it, he called the legislator. He basically solidified his power, however the various factions are in Iraq. I don't know all the details. But he definitely had the military, which is what you need in a country like that. And so he assembled the legislature. And keep in mind, they're supposed to represent the people, and there was supposed to be a semblance of that checks and balances, but he had already solidified his power. And so he did something like he called all the legislature in, and he said, I have a list of traitors in Iraq, something like that. And they were yelling at him. And then he said the first name on the list, whatever it was. Arden is here. Is it wrong that when Rob Reiner said, should Trump win again, he would set himself on fire? And my immediate response was to ask if he needed a light. No, you're trying to help him. And he's full of it anyway. I had plenty of friends who said, oh, if George W. Bush gets reelected, I'm moving to Canada. None of them moved to Canada. And he got reelected. All they did was complain. And then I called one of them out on it. And he's like, I never said that. He totally did. He just forgets. Because he was mad in the moment. He didn't really mean it. So anyway, Saddam Hussein has this list. And he calls out the first name. And immediately the doors in the back of the room open up. And 2 soldiers, I think, come out. And that guy, one of the guys in the legislature, gets taken outside, and the door's shut, and then you hear, poof, and they shot him outside the building, close enough that the people inside the building could hear it. And then you see the room change, and then they all start praising Saddam Hussein. Oh, he's the greatest president ever. And then one by one, he starts sending people outside to be shot. Now, he doesn't shoot all of them, I don't think, but he shoots a lot of people. That's how a dictator takes over. Because by the end of that, anybody who had survived got the message. Holy crap, this guy's crazy. I am going to do nothing but praise him all day, otherwise I'm dead. That's how a dictator takes over. So if Donald Trump were a dictator, he would have done that. But he's not. He wasn't even close. He didn't have the military behind him. The military sabotaged him. He didn't have the loyalty of enough troops that he could take people out and have them shot. Now, some, like Rob Reiner, would probably argue, oh, well, if he did, well, that's not the point of your assertion. When you say he's a dictator, it's impossible for anyone to become a dictator in this particular climate in America right now. There's too many checks and balances. People wouldn't stand for it. In Iraq, they had already been pretty close to that. They had not had a long history of democracy. It takes a lot. Like when Germany went that way, I gotta be careful what I say here. When Germany went that way, yeah, everybody says, well, the bad guy from Germany got elected legally. Yeah, he did. But it also took him years to give himself special powers. It was like years of like denigrating the system. And again, they had that democracy. It wasn't very old in Germany at that time. Like before that, they had the Kaiser. And before that, they had kings. So it was not, it wasn't a 250-year tradition. I mean, they've done some damage, don't get me wrong. The Democrats have done some serious damage, and the Republicans too, to our system, but you're nowhere near dictator status. Dictators also don't say, hey, I'm a dictator, and I'm going to rule you with an iron fist. Like Trump says jokingly. Trump said jokingly, I wish I could be a dictator on day one. Like, everybody knows that's a joke, except people like Rob Reiner, who take it very, very, oh, see, he said it. He said it. It must be true. He lies about everything, except that. So, a real dictator would say, of course I'm not going to do that, until he gets into power. And even as he's shooting people who will say, well, these are enemies of the state. This is an exception. This is a very temporary situation. I'm just going to execute enemies of the state. And you'll be fine. That's the way a dictator gets in. He says what you want to hear. So he gets more power. In fact, he'll say, we have to execute these people. Will you please give me the power? It's very temporary. I just need it for a short time. Once I get rid of all the enemies, I'll give it back. And then everything will be great. And then the idea is you give it to him and he never gives it back. That's what they did in Germany. So, Rob Reiner, I don't even know what to say about him anymore other than he's just dumb, I think. Just dumb, you know. Totally out of touch. You know what? I wanted to check the Post Millennial because they usually have a bunch of the Twitter feed. Or no, it's on Breitbart, I bet. No, it's Breitbart has it. John Nolte usually has, under entertainment, a listing. Let's see if he has it. Oh, here's Stephen King. He called out Biden too. Joe Biden has been a fine president. Since when? But it's time for him, in the interest of America, he so clearly loves, to announce he will not run for re-election. Somebody got the memo. And then here's Reiner. I guess that's the two big ones. So most of the YouTubers are saying their money is on Robert De Niro to be the last to give up the ghost. I don't know about that. I mean, he might just go along with these guys. They might all go along. Oh, they got the word. Time to get rid of Biden. Oh, okay. I'll call for getting rid of Biden. I didn't like him anyway. I never liked him. I didn't really support him. That's what they're going to start saying. I'm waiting for Mia Farrow and Ellen Barkin, Alyssa Milano, all those clowns. Where are their takes on this? Ooh, kind of quiet. Kind of quiet from the yappy celebrities. So yeah, it's so great to see these guys throw Biden under the bus. Oh, the Civil War in the Democrats. I mean, you thought the Civil War in the Republicans was bad. It's nothing compared to these guys. They're going to destroy themselves. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see the collapse of the Democratic Party. I really can't. There'll be another party. Trust me, there'll be another party. They're probably already making moves to take over the Greens or, I don't know, the Libertarians. Looks like the Libertarians are taking over again. But man, watching this is the greatest show on earth. Greatest show on earth. Better than any TV show. I'll say that. Let's see. What else? There's a new Disney thing called Primos. First trailer revealed new animated series celebrating her diverse multicultural family. Look at the design on the mom with the pink hair and the haircut. The classic haircut. Okay. It's like a gazillion kids. At least that's something. I mean, maybe it's wholesome. Who knows? But that haircut, man. Whoo, that haircut. That is the haircut. The haircut of every woke woman. It's like the sides cut and the hair's flopped over and usually in a variety of colors. Nicolas Cage picks just one of his 120 movies that he wants you to watch. All right. Nicolas Cage, the actor, details his AI fears. They're just going to steal my body and do whatever they want. That's kind of creepy, but it's true. So he says you should go see, what a shocker, the most recent movie? No. He says Pig. I saw Pig. It was really good. It was 2021 Pig. It's a really good movie. It's interesting. It's about a chef, and he lives by himself, and he has a pet pig that finds him truffles, and they kidnap his pig. It's kind of a sad movie, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, moving on. Bounding into comics, former Rockstar's game developer says original Grand Theft Auto 5 DLC plans scrapped in favor of GTA Online. Kind of not surprised. I mean, online where it's at. Instead of just paying one price, you can get subscribers to pay again and again and again. So I kind of don't blame them for going that way. But some people don't. I don't really have the time to play online stuff anymore. It's not worth it to me. For the kids, it is. I mean, if I was 14 again, oh, you're damn right I'd be online. You think I'm online a lot now? I'd be online. I'd be locked in, baby. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they should have both. They make millions of dollars. Why can't you do both? All right. Scarlett Johansson crowing about Jurassic World 4. If she's naked in it, maybe I'm interested, but that's about it. Free agents make their interdimensional debut at issue 1 from Image Comics, so a new superhero team. It might be good. I mean, Image, you never know. That's the nice thing about Image. I just wish they'd get their act together as a publisher. I could do a lot with Image. Oh, I could do a lot with Image. I absolutely would put them on the map. I would crush Marvel and DC if I ran Image. I would crush them. We would own every comic book store. But it requires money, and it requires enough power to be able to publish things the way you need to publish. But all the Image guys ever seem to do is follow Marvel and DC. Ardent, hey all, just got back from the swimming hole with the girls. Great weather, great fun. Nice. Dad win. Nice. Nice. I'm going to a pool party right after this. I'm going to eat some dinner and then, I guess, soak in the pool because I shouldn't go swimming after eating, right? A half hour or something. But we'll see. I have to find my bathing suit. I literally haven't been in a pool. When's the last time I was in a pool? Let me think about that. Gosh. I think probably like 8 years. I don't think I've been swimming for about 8 years. Like prior to the pandemic and my divorce, I would have been in a pool. After that, no. No pool for me. Ardent, that's a bit of a myth. Well, good. In that case, I'm going to eat in the pool. That should be fun. This was another thing about video games. Ardent, just don't stuff yourself and then go hard. You're not the boss of me. In seeming attempt to avoid offense, Capcom race swapped the psychopath enemy from Asian to white in upcoming Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster for some reason. I don't know why they bother, but they did it. Deadline. This just dropped. The Jerry Bruckheimer and Joseph Kosinski F1 movie teaser with Brad Pitt. Just a bunch of race car driving. I'm sure it'll do okay. The gearheads. Although, you know, that Adam Driver movie about Ferrari didn't seem to do well, but I don't know. Brad Pitt's got some box office. He's got BO, as they say in the business. As political climate heats up, late night returns. Are you out of your mind? Who the hell is watching late night? Look, there's a picture of Colbert interviewing Seth Meyers. Okay, sure. I don't think I know a single person other than my elderly relatives who still watch late night TV. That's the audience left. It's literally elderly people who are still in 1975 mode. In 1975, would I watch late night TV? Of course. There was no internet. This was the only thing to do. Watch SNL and watch late night TV. That was the cool thing to do. That was the edgy stuff. Or, read a book or whatever. Now everything edgy is on the internet. You don't need late night TV anymore. There's too much of it anyway. Half these shows should be immediately canceled. But somehow, so many old people... See, it's all like a delayed reaction in the world of media. Because old people control everything. And their sensibilities are in the past. Right? They're in the past. This is why everything falls flat when they do a kids thing. Oh, we're going to do something for the kids. And then they do something that, kids would have liked in 1975. They would have loved it. Except now it's not 1975 and they have no clue what kids like. They have none. No clue. So late night TV, who is it for? Old people. That's it. Old people who haven't gotten the memo that TV is worthless. It's just worthless. Now, would I go on TV if I was invited? You're damn right I would, because I'd want to sell my books, but that would be the only reason. There's nothing left of TV. And look, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 2 to conquer San Diego Con. In what universe? Conquer San Diego Con? You'll be lucky if you're not laughed out at a hall. I don't think this is going to be the win you think it is, but go ahead, Amazon, buy your way in to Comic-Con. That worked out so well in the past. Make sure you call everybody a bigot who doesn't like your show. Nickelodeon alum Emma Roberts on Quiet on the Set docuseries allegations. It's inexcusable. Kids need to be protected. That is true. That is true. Melrose Place gets rewatch podcast as Charmed audio show gets reboot. Oh yeah, that's there you go. Yeah. Now we're not going to make television. We're going to watch it and talk about it. Talk about old television. I didn't like this show when it was on. I have a whole story about that. Ugh. Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2 movie poster images. Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington, Joseph Quinn, Connie Nelson. I don't know. This could be good. I like the first movie. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe. I kind of think it's not going to do that good. I think it'll do okay. But we'll see. At least it's not woke. It doesn't sound woke anyway. Bleeding Fool. Another unimpressive Deadpool and Wolverine cameo announced. Okay. Do we have a picture? I don't know if you guys care. Gladiator 2, interested. Pedro Pascal, I'm going to wait until I can see it for free. Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about it, too. Oh, they already announced this one. Pyro is back. I mean, that's kind of a cool cameo, but, it's fine. Beetlejuice will open the Venice Film Fest. It looks okay. I don't know. Michael Keaton doesn't look like he's got the energy in the trailer. Looks a little laid back. More on Neil Gaiman's sexual assault allegations. Not good. IDW's overweight American Girl comic inspires Polygon to demand overweight doll. Mommy, my doll's too heavy. Well, she's fat, you fat phobe. So you better carry her. But she's so heavy. So, I don't know. I guess the girl on the right is supposed to be the fat girl. American Girl, Julie and the Blue Guitar, Mysteries Across Time. What the hell is this? I don't know. This looks like a little girl's comic. So, looks wholesome enough, I guess, except for the fat stuff. The Wrap. David Ellison and Jeff Shell outline plan for new Paramount tech animation and rebuilding Paramount Plus. Maybe. Fangoria Chainsaw Award nominees include new video game category. Fangoria is still around? I knew guys who worked for Fangoria, and then it kind of disappeared. So I guess it's still doing something. It's amazing how IPs just keeps outliving people. Oh, there's money in it. We got to keep it alive. Melissa Etheridge, I'm Not Broken review. No, thank you. The View, Whoopi Goldberg doesn't care if Biden pooped his pants as long as he can do the job. Well, he can't. It's pretty clear he can't. It's pretty clear he's effed it all up, and he pooped his pants. Multiple times. In front of the Pope. Remember that rumor? But you just keep hanging on. Yeah, I think Whoopi might be the one that hangs on. Robert De Niro might go. But Whoopi, she's on The View. So I don't know. Although I think some of The View talked about getting rid of Biden, if I recall. And finally, over at Cosmic Book News, Finn Jones wants to return as Iron Fist in the MCU with Heroes for Hire. That could be cool. We're going to take a look at Sydney Sweeney, of course, a good way to end. All right. What the hell do I got here? Oh. Yes, here's the Sydney Sweeney selfies. Nice. 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 Oh, I like that one. Ah, okay. Now it's a picture. I don't want to see that. All right. Let's end on boobies. There we go. Who doesn't like boobies? All right. So, I'm going to keep this one short because I am going to a pool party and I do have to get ready. But we got a little bit of time here. Ardent, LOL, Tony, you are the dirty old man I aspire to be. There's nothing dirty about it. It's very tasteful. It's very tasteful. She's not showing nipple? I disagree. I'm not dirty at all. I'm just alive. And I recognize people like boobies. People like boobies. Women like boobies. There's nothing wrong with boobies. You just gotta, like, not go nuts. Some guys get nuts. I remember when dating apps first started. Like it was more on the PC than it was on the phone. And then I would date a girl off one of the apps and she'd be like, oh, you're so much normal than the guys I normally talk to. God. And they were doing crazy things. Kite, it's just tasteful titty. Yes. My God, the crazy things I would hear from women that guys would try to do. Like they were sending, like, the moment the technology there are certain guys that were just sending pictures of their junk to women. Just like immediately. Oh, finally. like they were waiting in the wings. Oh, if only one day I could send a picture of my junk to a woman, then I'd get laid. Like, I don't get the logic at all. But a lot of the guys, Ardent LOL, hey, Kite. I don't get the logic at all, but they would set up these internet dates expecting to get laid, like, with no effort. Like, none. Like, okay, you met me, let's go. It's like, I heard from a bunch of different women how, like, they'd meet a guy and he'd be like, well, let's go have sex. He's like, immediately. Indie Phantom, I came back to the words tasteful titty. Ardent, Stormy and I met on a dating app. I was the only guy who didn't get creepy immediately or send a dick pic. Yeah, the bar is pretty low on a lot of these sites. Indie, Phantom, making dessert for family event tonight. Oh, what are you making? What are you making? That sounds good. A family event on a Monday. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess some sort of pie. Well, that's pretty high end if you're making a pie. You gotta make the crust separately and the insert, and that's a lot. But if it's a family dessert, like the puddings, you do like the Mississippi mud. You ever make that? It's like chocolate pudding with the whipped cream on top, or maybe it's got vanilla in it too, and like graham crackers. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's mostly like instead of cooking it, you put it in the fridge, right? So, I generally don't do that because I don't know if my family trusts me to make food for them on a big scale, but I probably should. I'm pretty good at making food. Indie Phantom, yeah, it's not pie, just some ultra rich brownies. Oh, that's solid. It's a solid bring. I think people will like that. See, my thing is usually chocolate chip cookies at Christmas. Kite, hey Ardent, hope you're well. But yeah, so what did we learn today? Well, we learned Star Wars sucks, still sucks. Sydney Sweeney, very tasteful. What else? The box office was pretty good. Indie Phantom, just some relatives that live nearby that I never see. Nice. I'm very lucky. I see my relatives fairly often, or used to, not so much anymore. I see some of my relatives on practically a daily basis, but kind of depends. Like I go through different phases of my life. Sometimes I'm seeing everybody all the time, and then sometimes I go weeks and I don't see anybody. Indie Phantom, we learned titties. Yes, we did. Ardent, Star Wars is going to suck until fans can get a hold of it. I think it's just over. I mean, that's the hard thing for fans to accept, I think. It's over. Like, Star Wars is done. It had its window. Like, there's a window of time for these things. Indie Phantom, I do need to still check out Maxine XXX. Yeah, like, I need to go back and see the other movies. So I'll probably catch it on stream sometime. Because I hear the X movie and Pearl is kind of cool to watch. Because Pearl is kind of like a prequel, but it ties into X and Maxine. So that's the triple trilogy there. I have a feeling I'm not going to like it as much, but because those movies are short, I believe they're all a tight 90. Except maybe the last one's probably a little longer, but I think it could be fun to watch those three movies. Ardent, well, yeah, I mean, like a generation passes and the kids who were barely old enough to remember the prequels have grandkids. Yeah, it's just, it's a shame. They had an opportunity. Disney had a real opportunity to buy the property and take all the old books and turn them into TV shows and movies. And it would have made them billions. Billions. Not millions. Billions. Indie Phantom, I am the black sheep. Spend free time at the beach mostly, so my mom pressures me to engage with fam. Because once my folks pass, they worry I won't know my relatives. Well, good for them. Good for them. I think they're doing you right. Disney effed up everything. Yes. Family always looks out for you, so that's a nice thing about family. Indy, they should be printing cash. Absolutely. They would be printing cash. You could redo everything in those books, and in some of the video games even. Some of the video games have good plots. You could have redone them all, and there would have been video games and TV shows and cartoons and comics to beat the band. They could be doing comics. They did. Dark Horse did very well with the Star Wars comics, and they translated a bunch of the books into comic book form, and you could be doing that. You could be doing, you know, Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher in their old, younger days, and you could be doing adventure after adventure in a comic book series like they did with the original Star Wars comic at Marvel. Even though it wasn't canon, people loved it. People loved it. Now, Lucas disavowed it in terms of canon, but so what? So what? People loved it. So, you know, you could have done a canon one. But they are so ideologically captured in Disney, they won't do it, in my view. They just won't do it. They won't allow the fun to happen. They have to control it all, and they have to make every cent they possibly effing can. They have to squeeze every dollar out of it. But the weird thing is they want to squeeze money out of characters nobody cares about. Like the Black Jedi Sith character from Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Completely not embraced by the fans at all. Nobody cared about her character at all. They were trying to sort of pass the torch and say, no, this is the character you love. That's not the way it works. It never works that way. What you have to do, and they could have done this, you have to put out a line of TV shows and comics and movies and then see what the fans like. And the moment they like something, you go, oh, okay, that's what we'll do. So what they should have done, obviously, and they sort of did this, but they didn't do it enough. The moment the Mandalorian became the big man on campus, they should have said, okay, we have to revamp everything to make it more like the Mandalorian. And if they had done that, problem solved. They could have dug themselves out of this terrible hole. But now it's too late. It's too late. They've done to Star Wars what they did to Doctor Who. They purposely went in, they dug down as deep as they could in the lore. They found the sweet spot, and they said to themselves, if we destroy this piece of lore, the rest of it collapses, and then we rebuild it. Indy Phantom. I don't think that Rey movie will get made, hopefully. No, I think they'll make it. No, 100% they're going to make it. No, I don't know who's going to see it, but they'll make it. And look, it'll do 100 million, couple hundred million maybe, because it'll be Star Wars. And people are sheep. People are sheep. They'll keep throwing money at it until it doesn't make any money. The moment they do like another solo movie and then do another one and that bombs, they're screwed. Then they'll finally say, okay, this isn't working anymore. We have to buy another IP, or, you know, Inside Out, the new universe. Oh, we're going to do Inside Out for everybody now. That's the next big IP, seems to me, is Inside Out 2 is going to be like, okay, we're going to do Inside Out 3 and Inside Out 4, and we're going to do a spin-off, and we're going to do a TV show, and blah, 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 blah. But we'll see how long they can milk that. Yeah, Star Wars is done. At this point, like every corporate thing they do, they just have to, like if they spend $50 million, they just have to get above their cost. And they probably are, because as I've stated in the past, Hollywood probably lies about all their money, right? So when they say a movie costs $50 million, Indy Phantom, there will be 5 Inside Outs for sure. Yeah, 100%. So when Hollywood says this movie costs $50 million, does it really? It probably doesn't, because part of that cost is the studio renting their own equipment from themselves. So it's like, okay, we rented our own soundstage and we rented our own cameras, and like we paid money and then just gave it back to us. And so all this complicated bookkeeping happens. So did it really cost them $50 million? No. And then and then they spend money on advertising, but again, some of that advertising if it's a Disney movie, is on ABC, which is the same company. So are they really losing that money? No, they're funneling it back into their own company, but they're still paying people. Now they lose a portion of it because people actually have to make the commercial, they have to air it, they have to air these little making ofs on the local affiliates on ABC, and there are people involved with that, and they all need to be paid. So when they say a movie's $50 million and then the advertising budget is usually $50 million, that's probably true on the books. The reality is, if you went back and parsed out all the things that, all these redundant payments, it's probably a lot less. Which means what they're saying to the government is, oh, this cost $50 million. Oh, and we spent $50 million on advertising. So when they pay the taxes on, let's say they spent on the books $100 million to make a movie. And then the movie makes, I don't know, let's say it makes $200 million. Okay. But now they can write off the cost for at least half of that. At least half of that. So now they're assured that half that money comes roaring back to them. And it covers all their costs. Now, they did make $100 million, but they got other losses that can absorb that. Other movies that probably didn't even make their money back. You know. So that's fine. Inside Out, they made so much money, now they got to hide it. Now they have to hide it. They're going to hide it in their other movies. That might be why Captain America, the fourth movie, is saying that it cost upwards of $375 million, maybe, or $275, like a ridiculous amount of money. Now, it's true, they keep reshooting the damn thing, but it may not cost that much. So, if a $50 million movie, let's say, they shoot that, and really, if you add all the redundant costs and take that out of the equation, maybe it costs like $25 million really in real money that you'll never get back, that you had to make in profit. So when you look at $375 million, that's got to be super inflated. It has to be. There's no way it costs that much. But it might be a situation where they just keep repaying everybody and pocketing the money. And some of it's going right back into the company. So maybe, let's say, they reshot the movie, I think, 4 times. So let's say the real cost on a movie is like about $25 million. Maybe it'll really only cost them $100 million. But they can say, realistically, no, we spent like $400 million on this. And we got to advertise it. So we spent even more. So even though they look bad optically if that movie bombs, and it will probably bomb, that, oh my God, just to break even, we need $750 million, at least $800 million, $1 billion. If that thing doesn't do $1 billion, we lose money. Because when tax times rolls around, now they can say, oh my God, we lost so much money. Right? Let's say the movie makes, I don't know, Captain America will probably make $400 million, let's say. Let's say it makes $400 million. But really, on the books, they say $750 million. So it's a $350 million loss. Plus, they get to write off the cost of the $400 million. Well, now you've just saved all the money from Inside Out. Indie Phantom, man, these reshoots are crazy. Time to scrap it, like Batgirl. Yeah, they're not going to scrap that one. They can't. I don't think they can. I think the reason Zaslav scrapped Batgirl was because they were doing the same thing, but they hit the end of the process where they were losing so much money, they couldn't lose any more. And they just said, okay, we've already written off everything. Now we're actually losing money. Now, that's not what we want to do. We don't want to actually lose money, okay? Because they're looking to sell parts of the business, possibly, or possibly all of Warner Brothers. So they need to look better. They need to look like they're making a profit. Disney, on the other hand, probably not. But they're still making money, it seems to me. Not that their stock price would show you that, but That's what's really killing him, I think. I think it's a combination of the stock stuff that's hurting him and the parks. The parks are really hurt. That's what's really damaging for Disney, because the word is that's where they make their real money. Who the hell's going to go to these parks? Who the hell wants to go to a park for Captain America 4? Not me. Who the hell wants to go to the park for Star Wars Land? Not me. Now, I'm out of the age range, but I don't... again, people aren't talking about Star Wars. They're not talking about Black Captain America. Not talking about that at all. Not at the shows I go to. So, I don't know, what are they talking about? Yeah, they talk about the X-Men to make fun of it. They talk about Star Wars to make fun of it. They talk about all these things to make fun of it. What do they actually want to see? Not much. Now, there's a few things that are still hanging on, like Batman. Batman's still an IP that kind of is okay-ish. It's had some damage, but Batman mostly still solid. Even the not Batman shows. Although they did just cancel Arkham Asylum. So Matt Reeves was apparently developing an Arkham Asylum TV show, which I gotta say, out of all the concepts for not Batman, that's probably the best one. Like, I would have done that before I did a Penguin show. But, I mean, and don't get me wrong, Colin Farrell looks incredible in that role. The makeup is mind-blowing. But I still don't get it. I still don't want to watch it. I might watch the first episode, but it's like, it's a not Batman show. Just give us a Batman show. That's all we need to get. Friggin' HBO Max, Warner Brothers would be, again, printing money. Batman show. 1 hour. Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, Colin Farrell, who's doing TV. Just back the money truck to their house. They'll do it. They'll do it with enough money. People would lose their damn minds. People would be ordering Max like it was going out of style. You do a Batman 1 hour show, 10 episodes, people would lose their damn minds. You introduce every single villain. Oh my God. You have so many villains to choose from. Every episode would be a new villain. You start the first episode, Scarecrow. Start the second episode, Killer Croc. Do the third episode, bring back the Penguin again. Do the fourth episode, Catwoman. I forget who played it, the Lenny Kravitz's daughter or whatever. I mean, the list goes on and on. Zaz, you can bring back Zaz. You can bring back all these. You can do all the obscure ones. You can do the ventriloquist and the Black Mask. You do one show, one villain. Oh my God, people would go nuts. People would lose their damn minds. And then you end with a season cliffhanger with the Joker returning. I mean, it would be the highest rated thing ever. Ardent, I'd rather a Killer Croc redemption arc post-Suicide Squad movie. Well, what I would see for Max would be Matt Reeves' universe, where everybody is in his, like, his is more gritty, so it'd be completely different. You'd reboot them all. Reboot everything under Matt Reeves, I would say. Ardent, Firefly, sure, bring them all. Then once you have 10 episodes where you introduce all the villains, then you could start doing the things. You introduce a villain, but then some of the other villains show up, and like, you never know who's going to show up. Oh my God. You could do Nightfall, right? You could do the whole Nightfall story with Bane, except I would end it differently. I would completely end that differently. You could do it all. You could do every major Batman story, and people would lose their damn minds. They would lose their damn minds watching that show. Kite, especially if it's written similar to Gotham. Not the best, but gritty enough to keep interest from the start. I would say write it like the Batman. I really enjoyed the Batman. I think it was solid. It was good balance of gritty mixed with the detective. Robert Pattinson is young enough. He could do it. You could do this show easily for 10 years. 10 years. 10 years, 10 episodes, an hour each. By the end of that, you could do, you could end with Nightfall. You could end with the Dark Knight Returns. You could, or, you could close out the show in a big finale and then ease into the Dark Knight Returns or something like that. Oh my God, people would lose their damn minds. Ardent, oh yeah, in Matt Reeves' universe, still haven't seen the Batman. I think Croc would be interesting. Yeah, he took the Riddler and made him kind of like the Zodiac Killer. And that was very cool. The detective stuff was super on point with that. So if you did stuff like that, like you take each villain, and then, the Penguin was like a mafia guy. So you take each villain and you make him like a real crime guy, kind of. And I'm telling you, it would be explosive. People would watch. You wouldn't be able, it would be the hottest show. It would blow away anything else. But they're not going to do that. They're still trying to do this corporate thing like, well, no, see, we got a spin-off on the Penguin, and then the Penguin will be a separate thing. No, it won't. I mean, it is, but it's not going to be the hit you think it is. The whole point of Batman, see, like, when I do the Pineys, I got a million characters. I can just keep rattling off crazy characters in the damn series. People say, when are we going to see this guy again? When are we going to see this guy again? Maybe never. There's a couple that are going to come back, but it's going to be very rare. But that's the way comics were. It was first appearance, and it was just all this great creative stuff. And you never knew where it was going. That's what the good Game of Thrones was like. You didn't know where it was going. It was going everywhere. It was going everywhere. That's what we need. We need a show like that goes everywhere. You just keep throwing characters out. One is better after the next. And you're just like, oh my God, I can't even keep up with this. Did you see the show last night? No, what happened? Was the Scarecrow on again? No, it's a completely new guy. The Calendar Man. It was stupid, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Calendar Man. He was funny. I mean, anyhow. All right. I have to wrap this up. Because it's 4 o'clock. I have to get ready for a pool party. And so I want to thank you all for tuning in to the live stream early in the day on a Monday. What's coming up, you might ask? Okay. For me, I'm going to Valenzano Winery on Friday from 5 to 7. Then on Saturday, I'm going to Mood's Farm for the big Blueberry Festival. Ardent, LOL, lesser than Calendar Man is a gag. I know. Sunday, I'm going to Bridgeton for a Pirates and Mermaids festival. That's going to be very interesting. That's on the 14th, on Sunday. So that's over at 5. I should be back for the live stream on Sunday. Should be no problem. And then Monday, I'm be at a library. At 6:30 for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. And the Valenzano Winery on Friday is my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. So yeah, and then the rest of this week, I'm recovering from 4th of July. I had quite a week. And so I'm going to relax at my pool party. Somebody's bringing food. I hear there's talk of wings, and I do love me some wings. So I'm going to eat a bunch of wings and then probably go swimming and then complain about how hot it is. And then at some point, I got to come back and make more videos and really should start editing book 15. I started it. I'm about like 4 or 5 chapters into the editing process. I don't do a tremendous amount of editing. I just kind of like reread everything to make sure it makes sense. Because sometimes I reread my own sentences and I go, I don't understand what I was trying to say in this sentence. I have to reword this. This makes 0 sense. Sometimes I put it through the grammar checker and the grammar checker says, what the hell are you saying here? Ardent, Calendar Man got a rework. Apparently now he renews seasonally. Oh, cool. That's kind of cool. That goes with Calendar Man. I mean, there's so many characters in there. King Tut from the TV show. I always liked him. There's a few guys just from the TV show you could bring back. There's the one that Vincent Price played. What was his whole thing was like he was an egg guy. He had like an egg shaped head, and he had egg puns. Ardent, I hate when I do that in my writing. Makes me want to shred everything sometimes. Nah, it happens because what you do is you're seeing the sentence in your mind, you know what you mean, and then you type a bunch of words and you're not totally paying attention because you've been typing so many words. Like that happens to me once in a while. It doesn't happen a lot. I worry that I'm going senile when it does happen, but that's why we have Egghead. That was his name. Thank you, Arden. Wasn't Price just Egghead? Yeah, it was Egghead. I couldn't think of his name, but he had a big egg head, and you could even bring those guys back. A 10 season would be easy. Would be freaking easy. And by the end of that, you would have so many people in Arkham Asylum. You could do the Nightfall storyline. Again, I would change the ending. Oh man, I had such a great pitch. I should go, but I'm going to tell you my Batman pitch. My Batman pitch was this, because I'm not going to get it now. But my pitch was, it was kind of like Nightfall, but the idea was Bruce Wayne decides the problem is people keep escaping from Arkham Asylum, right? So what we're going to do secretly, he gathers like Nightwing and Tim and all the characters in the Bat family, and he brings them in. He says, this is what we're going to do. For a while, we're just going to ignore the crime in Gotham. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure anybody who goes to Arkham can't get out. We're going to lock it down. We're going to cut off all the escapes and make it escape proof. And we're going to put a bunch of cameras in it and a bunch of technology that even the people who run the place don't even know about. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing with Blackgate, the prison. And we're going to make it so when somebody tries to escape, when one of these asshats tries to escape, we instantly know about it and we stop them. Right? So they do that. And like there's some disagreement. Like eventually Nightwing gets mad because he always gets mad. And then they do it. They upgrade the technology. And you can have these great scenes where like Bruce Wayne is in disguise and he sneaks into Arkham to put in these cameras or gadgets or whatever. And like he has like near misses with some of his rogues that are trapped there, which would be really cool. But the one guy who's not in Arkham is the Joker, right? He's in another place in Antarctica, I think. I think they did this where he can't get out. And then Bruce even goes up there to make sure he can't get out, right? So they do all that. But then they have to, in order to make their system work, they have to do some sort of changeover. So, you know, for the technical aspect of it, they have to like turn off the power for like 5 minutes and like switch a bunch of things, and then it'll be locked down. So, in the process of doing that, there's an escape, like Nightfall. They switch over to the new system that they built, but something goes wrong, and the power goes out for a longer time than they thought. And basically, they end up letting out most of the inmates in Arkham Asylum. So initially, there'd be an issue where they capture a bunch of them that don't get very far. But what happens is, right before they realize that the villains inside Arkham realize that the lights have gone out and they have a shot to escape. But they start having a conversation amongst themselves, and they say, you know what the problem is? That we keep robbing places in Gotham. What we should do is get the hell out of Gotham. And they do. So when they all escape, they all decide to go all over the world. And they leave Gotham behind. And the end result is, you know, the Batman captures a bunch of the lower level guys, puts them back into Arkham. But the crime rate doesn't go up. All those villains leave. And in fact, the crime rate plummets because they all leave. So you got Two-Face and you got Killer Croc, all these guys, now they're all over the world. So what it would be is Batman, like James Bond, going all over the world to capture these guys and bring them back to Gotham to stick them back in Arkham Asylum. So it'd be a storyline like that. But the idea is, once he gets them in Arkham now, they can't get out because the system does work. But meanwhile, the Joker's still trying to escape and he can't. And then the climax of the whole thing was going to be, eventually the Joker finally figures out how to get out. Like, you keep cutting back to him and he's trying to get out and he keeps getting foiled every time. But he's so crazy, he eventually kind of figures it out just by trial and error. But all the other guys go in, and then the final story would be Batman versus the Joker, and he wins again, as always. So that was the big story arc I pitched to DC. It was like all the villains in different parts of the world. So anyhow, I got to wrap it here. Thanks for listening to my ramblings. I got to get to a pool party. I hope you got something cool to do. Indie Phantom, good luck with your dessert. Kite, good to see you, Piney. Good to see you. 2 Pineys. I got 2 Pineys. If you join for the secret videos, you get a little Piney icon. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Sydney Sweeney for her boobs. We will see you in the next one.